Hi guys! As you can see, I got my second bookshelf that I was telling you about, and so to kind of celebrate it, I decided to order some books, and so this will definitely be my biggest book haul yet. I honestly don't know how this happened. I mean, I remember ordering all these books, but at the same time, it's like, how did I not realize how many books I was ordering? Maybe I was ordering books in my sleep or something. But either way, I have a lot of books to show to you, so I'm gonna go try and get through these as fast as possible. But let me first show you how many books I have. First, I have a book outlet order, a Barnes & Noble order. Then I went shopping at Barnes & Noble. Then I ordered some books from eBay. This is literally how tall it is. The table that I have them on right now is like at my knees, and this is how tall that the stack is. I'm sorry guys if I look kind of irritated and kind of meh for this video. It is so hot here. I swear to you guys, it's like 107 I think it is today. It is just so hot. Let's start with the eBay books first. The first book I have is actually an old library book that I found at the library. The Secret of the Diamond Sisters by Michelle Maddow. This is about three sisters who have never known their father, and their mother has a serious drinking problem. And so when their mother finally goes over the edge and ends up being sent to rehab, their grandmother gets in contact with their father, and they end up moving to Las Vegas while their mother is in rehab to live with their father. It's supposed to only be for a few months, but actually I think they actually end up spending a lot more time there. Next, I have a package. Girl of Fire and Thorns by Renee Carson. And this is about a girl who is the youngest of three princesses, and she is chosen by God to do some sort of mission, and that mission involves marrying a king from another land whose land is in turmoil. And she believes that she is not only worthy of this mission, or worthy of this king who is very, very famous. While she hasn't done anything, he's done tons of stuff. And not only is she sought after by this king who needs her as the chosen one to save his kingdom, but she's also sought after by this evil that wants dark magic to consume the world, I believe. But it won the Madison Debate Award, and quite a few people have added this into book recommendations here on BookTube. So when I saw it, I figured, you know, why not give it a try. Next, I have Angel Fall, and I know I'm going to butcher this author's name. It is Courtney Allison Moulton, I think. I'm not sure on that last name though. And this is about a 17-year-old girl who has had nightmares about these hellish demons trying to kill her all her life. And one day she meets this boy named Will, and she just knows in her soul that she has known him in past lives, centuries gone before. And while meeting him, she knows his attention to her is very intense and romantic. And when he awakens some of her old memories, he also awakens this power she's carried that allows her to kill these demons. As I said before in a few videos ago, I've been meaning to get into angel books, and the last angel book I read I wasn't a fan of, but I wasn't ready to give up on the whole angel theme altogether, so I figured I might as well try this one. I've heard of the book before, but I had never actually seen the cover, and the cover kind of sold me because it is very pretty. I especially like the big sword she's holding. Well, that is all for the eBay order, so why not get into the Barnes & Noble bag? Next, I have a book that's been going around BookTube and lots of people seem to like, while some people don't like it, but I've heard more good reviews than bad reviews, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And if you haven't heard of this book, this is kind of a fantasy dystopian book, and I love fantasy, and I've been meaning to get into dystopian, and so I figured why not go a little bit out of my comfort zone and try it. If it's mixed with fantasy, who knows, it might make the dystopianness not so bad if I don't end up liking dystopian after all. So this is about a girl named Mare who is a red, and in this book the people are split up into two different categories. There are reds and then there are silvers. Silvers are basically kind of godlike. They have all these powers and they're rich and they rule over the reds, and the reds are like us. They have red blood and the silvers have silver blood. And so no red has ever had any powers. They are the servants of this world. They only truly live to serve the silvers. And so through some sort of chaos, Mare ends up working at the Silver Palace, and somehow while she's there that she ends up finding out that she actually has powers like a silver. While she's at the castle, I believe she's supposed to help some sort of revolution going on with the Reds to overthrow the Silvers. And so it sounded really interesting, and a lot of people that I follow here on BookTube seem to like it, so I figured I might as well give it a try. And this cover is very pretty. I've heard in videos before, you know, like this quality doesn't show how pretty this cover is, and I have to agree. It's all this silverness is actually more shiny than it looks in the camera. Even the red blood here on the crown is more reflective than it looks in the camera. Next I have a pretty new, I don't think it's been out that long, and that is The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Adi, a retelling of 1001 Arabian Nights, I believe. This is about a boy king who marries a different girl every day, and the next morning she is found dead with a red cord wrapped around her throat. And so our main character, best friend, was one of his previous queens, and of course her friend died, and so she decides to volunteer to marry the king. Her plan is to kill the king and put an end to all the heartache for all the families. I do like this picture that's inside the book. But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this book. Next I have Eon by Allison Goodman, and this is kind of a retelling of Mulan, I guess you could say. This is about a boy named Eon who has studied sword work and magic all his life, and he is chosen by the Dragon Eye to learn dragon magic. But Eon has a secret. Eon is actually Iona, and girls are forbidden to learn a dragon magic in this world, and it is punishable by death. Last in this bag I have Splintered by A.J. Howard. And this is about a girl named Elisa who can hear the thoughts of plants and animals, and she's afraid of being thrown into an insane asylum like her mother and her grandmother and a lot of women in her family for like the last 100 years. Elise Gardner hears the thoughts of plants and insects. She hides her delusions for now, but she knows her fate. She will end up like her mother in an institution. Madness runs in her family ever since her great-great-grandmother Alice told Lewis Carroll her strange dreams that inspired his classic Alice in Wonderland books. But perhaps she's not mad, and perhaps Cromwell's stories aren't all as whimsical as they seem. Next I have the Barnes & Noble box. Dang, they used some high industrial tape on this box. It's almost impossible to cut. Next I see Lost Voices by Sarah Potter, and this is actually much smaller than I thought it would be. I thought it would at least be like a 300-400 page book. Yeah, it's 291 pages. This is about a girl, I believe her name is Lucy, and her parents died in, I believe, a car accident, and she's sent to Alaska to live with her alcoholic uncle. And this is supposed to be a very dark book because her uncle tries to cross some sort of line with her that should never be crossed. And she ends up, I believe, throwing herself off a cliff into the water and turning into a siren. But she's not a normal siren. She has like this power that no other siren has. And next I have Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April Touchlock. I can't pronounce that last name. I think it's pronounced Touchlock, but I'm probably saying it completely wrong. But anyway, I will link all these books below as always. And this is about a girl named Violet. Her and her family live in this big house, and they have a little cabin behind their house. And so while Violet's parents are off in Paris because they are artists with their latest art inspiration, they leave their children at home by themselves and leave them with nothing, no money for food or anything. And so in order to make ends meet, they end up renting the cabin behind their house to a teenage boy who Violet is convinced is the devil. And she starts falling in love with him, and I think this is actually this is the first book in a duology, I believe it is, although it could be a series, I'm not sure. And I am definitely looking forward to this one. Next I have Fire by Kathleen Cashmore. This is the second book in the Graceling series, although I'm told these are more companion novels. They don't like intertwine, like continue on from each other, and so you can read these as standalones. But this is about a girl named Fire who is part demon or some sort of monster, and she is so beautiful that no one can resist her. And not only that, but she can read people's minds, and so she's hired. Dang train. Yeah, just hold on the horn. So she's hired by the king to come into his kingdom and try and uncover some sort of plot that's being set against him to take over his kingdom. And fire starts falling for, I believe it is the king's brother. She starts to learn that she has more power than she ever thought before, but she's worried about becoming the monster that her father was because he gave in to this mind-reading power of his. Next I have Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly. This is another mermaid book, and this is about Seraphina, the daughter of Isabella, the current queen. And it is time for her to ascend the throne, but in order to earn the throne, she has to prove somehow that she is not only deserving but ready for the throne. But during this ceremony where she's supposed to prove that she is ready, her mother is struck by a poison arrow, and so she and her best friend have to go on this adventure to not only find the person who shot her mother with the arrow and find the cure and the person who hired them to do it before all the mer kingdoms go to war. And so I've been looking at this on the shelves for a few years, and I keep saying next time, next time. So this time I decided I have to grab it. Otherwise, by the time I pick this up, it'll probably be 10 years in the future. And I actually learned a fact about this book, that this picture, which I assumed was created on a computer like a lot of pictures, is actually a real picture. You know, like they put a person in a mermaid suit and then put some cloth on her, and then they took pictures of her underwater. And so that just makes me appreciate the picture even more, knowing that it's not computer generated but an actual picture. Now this is an author I've been meaning to pick up for quite some time. I meant to pick up her other series, which is more popular than this one, but aliens just don't fascinate me that much. I might pick it up one day, just not at this moment. I have no plans. So I decided to get Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is a book of Greek mythology, and you guys know how much I love Greek mythology. Now this book is kind of complicated to explain. It is called Half-Blood. It is about a girl named Alexandra who is a half-blood, and half-bloods have two purposes. They either serve the purebloods by working in their houses, you know, maids, cooks, whatever, or two, they serve as protectors. So Alex has a choice. You either become a servant or you become a protector. And of course, she decides, I'm not scrubbing anyone's toilets, so I'm going to be a protector. And the term half-blood in this book is kind of odd. There are purebloods and there are half-bloods in this book. The purebloods are the children of Greek gods, you know, like Zeus, Aphrodite, Hades, those Greek gods. And then there are the half-bloods, who are the children of the purebloods. Now to me, I would think that the purebloods were truly half-bloods, because I mean the gods, they had relations with human women, they had children. So to me, those would be the half-bloods, and technically the half-bloods would be like quarter-bloods. But maybe that will be explained sometime during this book. So I was told that Jennifer L. Armentrout is a fantastic author, and she's got great writing and stories. And this is Greek mythology, which you guys know how much I love Greek mythology, so I decided to pick it up. Next I have Talon by Jodi Kagwa. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And this is about dragons. Dragons were hunted to the near brink of extinction in this book until they found out that they could shift into human form. And so they've all learned to shift into human form, and they're regrowing their ranks, I think, to go to war with the humans who nearly killed all of them. And this is about a girl named Ember who ends up falling for a dragon hunter, and of course I'm sure that their relationship is complicated because she's a dragon, he's a dragon hunter, his purpose is to kill her. And I really love not only the picture inside the cover, which is awesome, but underneath the cover, that is just very pretty. That's just awesome. And on the cover you can actually feel the scales of the dragon. You might even be able to see it. It's kind of shimmery. Hold on. Yeah, see? You can actually feel all of that. So I am definitely looking forward to this book. I've read quite a few dragon books on ebook form, but I've never read a physical copy, and the last book in this box is Magonia by Maria Headley. I've heard fantastic things about this book. It's about a girl named Aza, I believe is how you pronounce it. Her name is Aza. So this is about a girl named Aza who her whole life she has had lung problems, and she could never truly properly breathe, and so she spent most of her times in hospitals and taking different types of treatments. And so one day while she's on a new treatment, she is sitting outside, and she sees a ship in the sky, and she hears a voice calling her from that ship. So of course she tells her family, and they just assume poor Asa, she's suffering the side effects of this new treatment. Then a few days later, I believe, she dies, which is unfortunate because she is just realizing that she's starting to fall in love with her best friend Jason. And when she wakes up in Magonia, and it's kind of described to look like the afterlife, you know, like there's clouds everywhere, and not only that, Asa can breathe perfectly fine, and she has all these powers now. And so as she's adjusting to her new life, she actually finds out that Magonia is preparing to go to war with the people of Earth. And so she has to decide between her new life and her old life. You know, do I go through this war and just accept my new life, or do I try and protect my family